So, escaping the matrix, in a sense, is a nonsense. It's a moot exercise. We only escape the matrix by nesting perfectly into it, by being completely phase coherent with the geometry of the living moment, which is always in the dead center of that so-called matrix. That's your escape, to be fully present in the here and now. That's your escape mechanism. There is no escaping from it. There's no deep space exit strategy. Not possible. It's all about consciousness. It's all about rekindling relationship with Atman, which happens when we place and situate ourselves as the living witness, the I am. I'd like to pass the mic to every member on the panel and invite their summation of the status quo. So let's start there. Let's get a litmus test from these brilliant minds and hearts on the status quo. Bianca, where are we?
We are healing people directly. We are teaching people the truth about their composition. We are reaching out and actually making a difference. So if you're not on TikTok, you might not know me, but I live stream frequencies every single day. I've been doing it for 3 years. I teach, and it's all free. It's traditional Chinese medicine, teaching people, reaching out, letting them know what the truth of their body is. And out of the 40,000 diseases, there's one fix, which is light. So reminding them how to get back to that light, eliminating the garbage, eliminating the chaos, the trauma, all that stuff. And then telling them that knowledge is not power. Will is your power. You have all this knowledge. You have to actually do it and take action. Practice what I preach. Practice what everybody is preaching. So, and that's where it's at. And I really am happy to be in the middle of chaos and disruption of medical and dental and psychological, all these names and titles of what people think they're going through, but they're really just figuring out their true self. So, thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Sandra, I've got to ask you, as the twin femme on the panel, status quo, where are we at?
We're in very, very deep shift as a planet. But the shift has hit the fan of accelerated evolution. And in case you hadn't noticed, this shift is flying every which way. But it's all imploding because it's shift to get off the planet. And those that can't make that shift, they're checking out, and that's okay. Because we're going into the new earth, the new time. We've waited so long for this time, and we are in it. I mean, it's like, it's wild right now. We're going to see some Toad's Wild Ride between now and through this year, because it's such a huge shift. The turning of the ages, 26,000 year cycle. I mean, it's wild, but we want a new heaven, a new earth here now through us. So we have to focus on what we want. The counterintelligences would want you distracted, pulled off track, out of alignment, to keep you, they're not going to convince you that you're not who you are, but just to keep you distracted, not doing what you're here to do. And whatever you focus on expands. So what do you want? Focus on what you really want. And I want a new heaven, new earth. This is a paradise pleasure planet.
Oh, that. Derek, let me ask you, brother, where are we at from your enlightened aspect?
Thank you guys for having me here and for allowing me to share the stage with these other lovely people who have such broad, interesting perspectives. And I guess from my view, I would echo what was just said, that I do think we need to put our energy and our focus onto what we want in the world. I think that this community here probably has that understanding, where maybe other aspects of the broader truth freedom community can sometimes become obsessed with only looking at the problems. But I also think there's the sort of polar opposite of that perspective, which is to put your head in the sand and ignore that problems are real as well, and that there is a physical world, and that there is what I call a predator class that is attempting to take this moment in their own direction. They have a vision for 2030 and beyond that I'm sure everybody here is familiar with. We've heard the phrase, "you will own nothing and be happy," and all this fun things over the last few years. But in reality, I like to remind people that COVID-19 '84, I think it was really the gift that never stops giving, because without that, I don't think we would have seen such a shift in more people asking questions. For those who've been asking questions since before 2020, many of the things that we've witnessed the last 5 years were pretty obvious. Like, yeah, this is a continuation of everything else we've seen. But obviously, it was a big awakening for a lot of people, and that's a beautiful thing. But from that awakening, I've really been trying to emphasize that being awake is not enough, whatever term you want to use, conscious, awake, aware. I like to use the term activated, because then you're kind of putting action into your focus and forward thinking, and whatever your goals are, put your energy into that, right? We know they have a vision, and we can either obsess about that, we can ignore it, put our heads in the sand and act like it doesn't exist. I don't think either of those help. Instead, we can become aware of other people's agendas, but still put even more effort, time, energy, love, etc., into our own hearts, our own minds, our own visions for the 2030 and beyond, and try to find like-minded people who are aligned with your visions and put your heart and soul into that. I think that's really what we should all be doing right now, and not putting faith or hope in false messiahs, or thinking that somebody outside of us is going to do the work for us.
Danyan Brinkley, sir, 2025. What is your take?
I think, Sacha, that where you were saying based on the Giza and the end of the era, excuse me, I would say that the Maya is within a month of this. Everybody knows the age was coming. It's been talked about for 20,000 years. It's freaking here. Okay, so that means everything you're seeing is disappearing. It cannot be possible for us to stay in one level of consciousness because a new one's being born. And if you think the world is not changing and shifting before your very eyes, you're not looking at it. So where I think it is right now is, I've always said, Sacha, my battle cry was, I believe that the battle for the souls of humankind would be fought in healthcare. I said this for 50 years because I was dead, and I had a bunch of spiritual beings and angels, or whatever the frick you call them, show me insights into where we would be today. So the battle for the souls of humankind being fought in healthcare would be the single most important issue we're going through. No matter what else is going on, the collapse of a nation, $36 trillion. Your health care and you taking care of yourself has to be your greatest focus, and it has to be that now. Why? That'll guide you safely through these periods. I wrote all this down in the book, Josh. You know, everybody knows this. I wrote this down in a book in 1993. But the original part that became the boxes of knowledge, or the vision, was I wrote it down in 1977 and took the 1977 script and put it in the 1993 version. So we are exactly where we deserve to be. We have made it to a new age. And we've been consistent light bearers to help each other, like everybody out here, helping each other to get here. Okay, and it's like what Sand said. What do we do now? How do we focus? Because the world is changing, and it will change even faster as the next couple of days go. Right, so my only other thing of really great pride, for me to sit as looking at my political mind, right, and I just went to the inauguration, and I went there so I could say, I'm going there to support free speech, so I could watch all the haters and to see what they said. You know? And so they see me and Trump, and they see all that stuff. But I was there, and Kennedy, and they see all that I'd weasel myself in there. And and not only that, they don't realize I'm for free speech. And I believe that Robert Kennedy being Health and Human Service, can you imagine that today, watch this, today, and every one of us has contributed this. Today, the history of Camelot, Robert F. Kennedy and JFK, that history rides on his shoulders. And he crosses over into the ultra-conservative of a screaming Northeastern liberal. You are watching a new political party begin to emerge. Listen to what I'm telling you. And if you look at it from that point, you will realize how frickin' amazing times we have the gift and the joy of living in. Okay? So think about your damn self and taking care of yourself and make that your list so you can clearly see what's going on around you, because it is changing, and it's changing every minute of every day. Why? An age is being born. To the Maya, Sacha, we're in its 13th year. December 21st, 2012. I'm a big Maya junkie. You know, I've studied the Maya for 50 years because I grew up in South Carolina and I knew everything. Okay? And I went to the Olympics in 1968 to see Jimmy Hines run the 100. And I'm some hayseed from South Carolina. And in between track and field, there was women swimming, ice skating, and boxing. So somebody said, do you want to go see the pyramids? Well, you know, I knew it was a trick because there were pyramids anywhere except in Egypt. I already saw it in National Geographic. And so we got in the car, and we drove out into this field about 45 minutes from Mexico City. And I took my little bedroll out, we rolled it out, and I slept on this slab. And when I woke up that morning, I was in Teotihuacan, and I was on the sacrificial platform at Teotihuacan, and it wasn't excavated. I have a picture of this, and it wasn't excavated. You know, it's just plastic bucket, weeds and crap. It's 1968. And I knew that every fucking thing I'd ever been told in my whole life to that day was a lie. Okay? It was a freaking lie. And if you went down there and you looked at it, you would see that the whole way you're told history is here in America is a freaking lie. Okay? That was 1968. So I got interested in it and looking at it. So the Maya, as the age, is instead of 26,000 years, it's 25,920 years. The Maya,
rounded up.
Yeah, well, it's fair enough, but the Maya's not messing with us about rounding up or rounding down. They clicking it. They think 9 things happen, energetic patterns flow through us in a day. And how to capitalize on that based on where they find themselves and how you look at how the calendar's structured from an analytical point of view, it's the most freaking amazing thing you've ever seen in your life. I mean, what in the world could them midgets be freaking thinking? And thinking it that well. Can you imagine? Think of this. You go down there and there's this pile of rocks, and it looks beautiful. It looks like a little statue, and you know, it's all aligned, and it's a little temple. And you can walk 8 yards from it and clap your hands. And the sound it makes is the exact sound of the mating call of the birds who live in the trees around that. Okay? Well, that sounds freaking insane. But I could get an airplane ticket and a bus ticket. So guess what? You can leave here today and go down. You can go down there and you can walk out there on your little tourist list, and it's been there, they know, at least 1,500 years. And you can clap and hear that sound. How in the world could that have been done? How could you find the pitch, the range, the step, the calibration, the reset to create a perfect sound of an animal? If that is true and that happens, get a grip, everybody. We've been lied to. So that's where I think the state of the world is, and it's freaking exciting.
Well, those were the weirdest opening comments I've ever heard in my life. And I've chaired a few conferences in my time. Thank you, Daniel. That was beautiful. Brad.
Yeah.
2025. Summary, where are we at?
I'm with you. It is a very exciting time, Daniel. And as you said in the setup, Sacha, we're at the end of the Kali Yuga. We're in the process through the Mayan calendar. We're entering the age of Aquarius. And as I was watching the Illuminati decode Super Bowl party with, with a few of my other speaker friends, including Stephen Bassett, he reminded me that in his capacity as the only lobbyist in Washington, D.C. pushing disclosure, that he's getting information that this same period, in 4 weeks from now, there is going to be this explosive disclosure event. So we're going to be introduced to our extraterrestrial brethren, who I think we all know are up there and out there and ready to assist, as they have been at this momentous period in time, which I would say we have all signed up and volunteered for, that we're all adults in the prime of our lives right now in this transformation, helping to push this forward. And Daniel doesn't even have to die again this time. He's going to stick around.
Just one more.
No.
I'm
We
not
got you, brother.
I'm not into ascension yet, honey.
So I think this is the period we've all been waiting for. It really is. It's an amazing time to be alive. And one of my books is called Beyond Esoteric, Escaping the Prison Planet. And this is our escape. This is ascension. This is how we do it. And it's with health freedom. It's with a transparent government. It's with new educational system and models. And it's all of you understanding this period of time we're in. And we're in this together. So let's ascend. We're the ground crew here. We're the earthlings here on planet Earth. We're the ones who got to make this happen. So let's do it.
Thank you, Brad. Well, the extraterrestrial brethren are not only out there. Some of them are down here. Some of them are sat next to you on a panel. Ismalel, Perez, sir, on behalf of the Star Nations, what is your take on the status quo?
Well, I think everybody pretty much encapsulated everything, but I agree with every single one of you. We are definitely in some sort of going through the eye of the needle, where we're going to be seeing a translation of one reality into another reality within a split second, and we have to be ready for that. There is ample evidence that what's going to be happening sometime this spring is very comparable to what happened in 1871. They called it the Carrington event, but this time it's supposed to happen 10 times more powerful. So imagine, that event knocked out the telegram back then, right? So, just imagine how it's going to be. And also to validate and confirm the true timekeeping system, which is in alignment with the natural order, is about 13 years off. I was able to study the differences between the Gregorian calendar and the Mayan, which actually is the same as the ancient Lemurian and Atlantean calendar. And I think the Egyptian calendar is also in alignment with the original calendar, as well as the Ethiopian calendar. But we have been operating under the wrong timekeeping system for about 5,000 years ago, ever since we entered what is known as the age of Kali Yuga, which is now coming to an end, thank God. So we are, about to undergo the biggest shift in human consciousness, and I just hope you guys have your popcorn and water ready, or beer, or whatever it is that you guys have when you celebrate a jubilee. But also bear in mind that this is not going to just be a planetary jubilee. This is going to be, I would have to say, a galactic jubilee, because it's not just about making first contact with our brethren from the stars, but it's also about making contact with the advanced brethren that have been here all along, underneath the earth, deep within the oceans, in pocket realities, if you really want to consider the fact that we do have pocket realities where civilizations that are millions of years or even hundreds of thousands of years ahead of us are actually monitoring us in a pocket reality, right? We just don't see them. So, it's a great time to be alive right now. And another thing that I wanted to talk about is my good brethren here and comrade Sacha Stone keeps mentioning this term, homo luminous. Well, even within the scientific community, they've talked about based on sudden jumps in evolution from, Homo erectus to Homo neanderthalis to Homo sapiens sapiens. They're predicting that the next stage of human evolution is Homo neoticus or something. Neoticus. Thank you. My divine counterpart always corrects me when I'm wrong. But yes, Trinity to my Neo. I am Neo, right? We're all Neo here. Everyone is Neo here. But the whole point is that we are going to go from this huge, level of operating into. I like to compare it. I like to use the analogy of like right now we're operating like typewriters, but when this shift takes place, we're going to go from operating like a typewriter into becoming a quantum computer, but it's an organic quantum computer because we are that living technology. So it's an exciting time to be alive. A lot of things are going to be happening. I believe that this is the year of disclosure because the Earth Alliance and the White Hats are now in power, and yes, they have been obligated by the higher ups, Commander Valiant, Thor, Coriander, Cortec, Hayton, Sirius, Hayton, and of course the Ashtar Command. To release the classified information sometime this year because they believe that the Earth is getting ready to once again, or at least they believe that the Earth is once again eligible to become a part of a galactic community. They have seen the signs. The only, we could say, agencies that have been preventing us from becoming a galactic community have been the Earth governments. But there's been a huge shift in power in the last few weeks based on what's happening in the geopolitical arena. And so we are going to be witnessing the fall of what we call the deep state, this cabal that has been running this show for the last 5,000 years. And we are going to be seeing a massive shift as a result of all of this highly classified information that is about to be released to the general public. Thank you.
Good stuff. Thank you, Ismael. Scott McKay. I know the machinations of that mind of yours, that quantum mind. I also know, to some great extent, the machinations of that thing that rattles in your chest cavity, that heart of yours. So I know who you are as the living man, but I'm very interested. You travel nonstop. You conduct thousands of conversations. You're broadcasting. You are constantly meeting Middle America. Again, for me, the Middle Earther is exemplified by the Middle American with a pitchfork, a Bible, and a gun, variously. The conversation that's emerging through that quanta of the Middle Earther in Middle America. America is the epicenter of the human experiment. You are touching the pulse of Middle America. What is the status quo as you see it?
Well, I can say that it was very inspiring to spend that 4 years on the road. And I do want to say also that, like as Brad mentioned, us getting to meet our non-terrestrial brothers in this time. I've always been ahead of the curve on most things. I've had this experience already with Daniel Brinkley and Sacha Stone. They say shit that most of us say, man, that was awesome. I have no idea what they said, but it certainly raises your vibration. I don't want to understate this either. I want to thank Deborah, Brandy, and people that put these events together for decades. And it's good to be absolutely. It's no easy task, and it's good to be among a bunch of you friggin' weirdos here today. Yeah. Good to be here. But for decades.
Paid good money.
Hell yeah. I did too. It took me 2 cough drops to get in here. But this was an experience I never saw coming into fashion that it did, getting to reach out and touch the country the way we were able to do it. And through the course of, some of you know my story and how I threw the Bible overboard in '99 as a born-again Christian and studied divinity for 20 years, knew something wasn't right. They weren't telling me everything, and quantum physics became my new Bible, and that was in the weave of years of metaphysics, epistemology, philosophies, some religious stuff outside of Christianity, but I just knew I never really fit in. I was expecting by now to be a United States Senator, 16 years in elected politics. I could see, by 2006, I walked away because I realized it was a crime syndicate. These people belong in jail. And
for that.
having gone through the experience I did, and it really was quantum physics that allowed me to, come out of that grave, paralyzed, destroyed, and be rebuilt like a Terminator on the inside, and end up upright, let alone walking. And that is the power of what I call the Christ consciousness, and that's really what perpetuated this time today. And I'm saying this because I want you to understand that this isn't just about what we're going to live through and experience, because this is our time. This is your time. Don't underestimate your power. Sitting here, we have panels and tables and speakers and stages, but the power of what you're going to see is going to be perpetuated by you right in the seat that you sit in, because you are the perpetuator of this quantum energy field. You're the elevator of it. You're the accelerator of it by what you think about every day. It's your thought process. It's what drives your consciousness. And I heard this when I was very young, that I think it was Earl Nightingale said, you will become what you think about all day long. Whatever you think about, choose to think about all day long is exactly what you're going to become. And when I first heard that, I thought, that's bullshit, because I would have been a girl by the time I was 16, because that's how I thought about it. But
Amen.
and I understood it later. But
It's still there.
yeah, exactly. Now I think about Daniel Brinkley all the time, because I want to be Daniel Brinkley. So, regardless of how you see yourself in this amazing process we're going to go through, do not underestimate your part in it. We are all the drivers of this field that is now breaking through the fabric of all things, space, time, and whatever else is out there that they never educated us on. Every day of your life moving forward should be you thinking about, and I've been talking about this on Patriot Street Fighter or The Tipping Point for 4 years. It is a warfare platform. My rhetoric is something I never expected to do. I was crafting most of my life for decades to speak like a United States senator. And then one day I get pissed. I got tired of watching the political class perpetuate the violence. BLM Antifa blew the gasket, started a radio show. 10 months later, Patriot Street Fighter, this vicious, profane attack machine, which is not my natural character. It's been a lot of fork and fun, though. Yeah, a lot of fun. I didn't say we were retiring. Don't worry. But I've talked to my audience about, as we win this battle and we fight this battle, we cannot stay in that vibration. If we are always thinking warfare every day against this machine, that's all we're going to have. We'll extend that warfare long into the future. We don't have time for that now. We have souls to save, babies to save, humans to resurrect from the depths of the hell they live in. And how do we do that? And this is what you're going to, if you don't already do it, this is what is going to come to you naturally now that we are in this ascension point. And that is, you're every day envisioning what Eden is going to look like. We can't think about that when these structures fall. They are falling. Absolutely. They're coming down. You are going to see a dismantling of a global power structure in rapid accelerating speed. It's going to blow your mind. I mean, let's face it, how many wake up every day and think it's Christmas in Disneyville watching this shit happen? It's truly spectacular, and it's fun to be caught up in it. But at the same time, we don't start rebuilding Eden after it comes down, because we lose too many lives in the process. So that's why I've talked on Patriot Street Fighter, weaving it in. Envision what that looks like, because it is you and I who are going to rebuild this planet in a fashion of the Creator, and that only happens through that manifestation. As you understand in quantum physics, it is that conscious thought process you have that creates that vibratory field that perpetuates all things, organic or inorganic, and it's like a tuning fork that just keeps picking up speed. And whatever we're fighting in that spiritual realm, it suffers defeat without any type of physical attack. It nearly demolecularizes just because of the force of the frequency that comes at it and forces it into retreat, because all of that leads into less loss of life in the coming battle. So whatever it is that you think your role is in this, you're going to watch it expand. I can say this about all that you are here, about all of you who are here. To stick around after a long weekend like this, and yet here you are on a Monday, coming back for more, defines who you are. You've defined yourself just by these simple decisions of being here. So you truly are the tip of the spear. But make no mistake, nothing is an accident. The universe has never made a mistake, never has, never will. And that's why you're sitting here today. So be prepared to enjoy the ride. Be prepared to be the army itself of the angelic realm, because you're already there. It's about us extending that across the ethers of space and time, so that frequency brings along many other people who may not get there without you. And as this continues to pick up speed, you'll know exactly where we are. You'll know by the end of this year, very likely, by the revelations that are coming, that you get to live through this time, not because you were lucky at being born in this time, but you either contracted to be here or you were sent here for this time. You are a weapon against that satanic realm. And that's where you're going to get to discover in you what I got to discover through being drug out of a grave, paralyzed, broken beyond repair, given no hope to stand up again, let alone walk, end up on a tour with Sacha Stone, and meeting this little lady who was on my bus for probably 3 weeks. And I was like, who is this young lady? Are we supposed to drop her off at the Shire or where? Well, and I met her like a couple weeks afterwards. Yeah, it's like I asked her, you need a ride to the Shire? And to develop these bonds and these relationships that have been unbelievably, put me in a privileged state, which I am every day, to be able to associate with these individuals up here. Those things don't just happen, in my experience, to special people. They happen to all of us, and it's going to happen for you too, because you're going to get to lead that charge. Yeah, so the greatest time in your life is right in front of you, but you need to activate at your highest potential, because it is us that accelerate this and get us to this state much, much faster.
Let's look at the mechanics of ascension, or the mechanics of exiting the proverbial matrix. Yeah. And the matrix, I define the matrix as the fallen light of Atlantis, in simple terms, because it's still that thrall that we have been emerging through and from. And the axis or the nexus point shift that is fast looming this year, I deem it to be Midsummer's Day into the 22nd of June. I'm certain in my own mind this is the axiomatic point. But to be sure, the end of the Kali Yuga is March this year. We're dealing with a false light Babylonian calendric system, so let's not pay too much attention to it. But in any event, this is the year, in my view, the axiomatic shift point takes place. So what it's inviting is a new dreaming. I would reference here the Aboriginal peoples of the world. I would look to the most, in a sense, ignominious, marginalized, disenfranchised of even the Aboriginal peoples. Let's look at the Aboriginals in Australia, Uluru. I'm blessed to have had dealings with them. I'm blessed to have participated in their great ceremony on the 21st of December 2020, which, as some know, was the true end of time. I don't know, Daniel, if you ever knew my late great friend Jose Arguelles.
Oh, yes.
Right. He did come, he imparted the law of time to me many, many years ago. Okay?
And he knew it.
He knew it, yeah.
He blended Mayan and Aztec.
Yeah, yeah.
By the time the Mayan and the Aztec blended, the Toltec influence had already set in.
That's right.
Okay, so there's where those deviations come in.
But in short, he was the man, the reincarnation of the last of the Mayan high priests, purportedly, and was born in the 1930s. In the 1970s, he decoded the long count Tzolk'in of the Mayans and put 2012 on the map, 21st of December 2012. Thereafter became the biggest meme in the history of the recorded world. Huge accomplishment for one man in a lifetime.
Absolutely.
He then transitioned in 2011, shortly before the great transition point of 21st of December 2012. that was auguring, 21st of December 2012 was auguring another 8-year cycle, which ended on the 21st of December 2020. The Aboriginals in Australia and that part of the world, they knew that the ending of the end of time was taking place at that time. And so the new dreaming needed to begin that time, 21st into the 22nd of December 2020. Now, curiously enough, Ismael, I don't know if this corresponds with any of the date lines in your understanding, but I've also been told by some in the know in the subject that the more nefarious terrestrial elements of the, let's say, the Draco-reptilian elements were exfiltrated off-world, more or less end of 2020.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's been a huge house cleansing due to this accord that was established back in late 2019, beginning in 2020, known as the Artemis Accord, which stated that all of the negative non-terrestrials that were still lurking within our solar system, their time was up. And so that gave the Galactic Alliance Federation, whatever you want to call it, the benevolent ETs, the green light to begin the elimination and removal of these dark entities from the underground bases, from the different off-world colonies within the secret space program, and so on and so forth. So that was a very important treaty that began in 2020. So
Beautiful.
that is correct.
Thank you. So then see it as this, that those most pernicious and nefarious and malevolent temporal 3D terrestrial entities in that sense were exfiltrated off-world in 2020. And that was in the great lull, that weird year of lockdown, right, of what the fuck was going on. My point is this: the new dreaming is now able to emerge. The galactic intelligences have always known that the true temple of creation is the human being in this temporal universe. Therefore, us awakening, cleansing, detoxing, going through this huge purge is of paramount significance, not just to us, but to the entire galactic plane. And that's why they're all bearing witness through us and to us and at us and with us. It's all collective. The cascade of the galactic genome is finding its way into the human genome.
But Sacha, it's still fitting in the structure of the Olmec Mayan tradition and interpretation of the calendar. Watch everything that we're talking about, the same as you were saying about Giza. That's the sun. Yeah. That's Amun-Ra.
Yes.
Well, also what happened was, when everybody's writing down a certain date, remember back then we didn't have electricity. You operated on the lunar cycle and the way the cycles of the Earth and the 7.82 resonance. So they didn't have to know a specific date. They felt it.
Yes.
They perceived it through the nature of before we had electricity and all that. But you have to take that into consideration as the means of communication. But every bit of what we're talking about and the time frame of that, we're in massive shifts right now. Everything is changing no matter what you think. The Maya and the Olmec, what you see, this is happening, what Brad is saying. This is what's happening. What do we do about it? And I think that's why you're here. What do we do? This is really happening.
That's my next question, if you don't mind. Scott, cuff the man and restrain him. But no, that's brilliant, because you've actually opened perfectly into the question, Daniel. So thank you for that. You definitely are a mystic. The question is what to do.
Who loves you?
Right. Right. McKay, restrain that man. So, this is the point. And my question is going to be couched in a slightly fun way. Bianca, starting with you. If you were given 5 minutes in the Oval Office, and you had Trump, love or hate him, had Trump there, and you had Kash Patel there, and you have Bobby Kennedy, let's assuming that the administration that looks as though it's coming in is in, and you had Tulsi Gabbard, and you've got these 4 characters there, sat there, and you have 5 minutes unfiltered, what would your advisement to them be about the great changes that they can make in terms of policy and the framing of so-called policy, which defines the legal capacity for us to act in this world? So what would your 5 minutes be? What kind of subject matter would you be raising in that 5 minutes? Again, unfiltered.
So I haven't had a television for a while, and I don't know most of those people, but I do know that one of them is very sick. And in my platform is about frequencies. So I would spend those 5 minutes and show them how they can be healed.
Way to go.
And it would not take that long for them to feel the effect and be able to do it in an affordable manner for everyone.
Well, I like that. And we'll throw Elon Musk into the room as well. All right. Elon is sat there as well. Derek, how would you address this clutch of individuals if you had 5 minutes unfiltered?
So it was mentioned in my introduction that I'm an investigative journalist. Is anybody familiar with the website The Last American Vagabond, Ryan Christian or Whitney Webb? We're all collaborators, and we just published a new article, actually, as I'm sitting here, called "Meet Every Peter Thiel Acolyte in the Second Trump Administration." So my conversation would be to say, remove all those people, including, for those who are excited about RFK, Whitney just did a great piece showing how there's a man named Jim O'Neill, who's the deputy secretary under RFK in the HHS. So if he does get in there, he's probably there to stifle him and to block him from doing anything. If you don't know who Peter Thiel is, he's a steering committee member of the Bilderberg Group, and he's also the co-founder of Palantir, which is basically a private surveillance firm that's been working with the CIA since the very beginning. They're also helping fund Israel's genocide and working with their AI to, kill people. So my conversation, if I had 5 minutes, would be to say, remove every single person in this cabinet who's connected to Peter Thiel and get rid of Elon Musk.
Actually, Scott, I'm going to bring you in here. I'm going to jump you ahead of the queue. Do you want to answer any of that? And what would your advisement be to that clutch? I know that you're on the side of many millions, hundreds of millions in America who are rather delighted at the fact that with the apparency of leadership, which is taking a broadsword to the age-old stranglehold and hegemony of so much of the evil of government. So I think there's an interesting counter-argument. Scott, what is your sense?
Well, Sacha and I have had this, and I'm glad you made your comments that you just made, because that's very interesting. We bring up Elon as well. And we all should be worried to some degree, but I've had patience and I've given extensive latitude. And the reason I've given latitude is that as Trump's done it, nobody's better at keeping your enemies close. But not only that, I look at this as, we hear all these terms, it's cliche these days, 5D chess. But I have been telling my audience for the last 5 years, look, folks, if you're going to infiltrate the Mongols and you're an FBI agent, they damn well better believe you're one of them, because if not, they will kill you. And if you're infiltrating a 1,400-year control machine, the Khazarian Mafia, you better look, act, walk, talk, smell like them, or they will kill you, or you just won't make any progress. If some of these troubling characters are in the mix of all this, I look at it from one of two ways. Like Vivek Ramaswamy, what did we find out when he was put out there to be part of Doge? Well, the hyenas will go after anybody that they believe is aligned with their enemy, and that's Trump. And what did they do? They exposed a guy who took a drug that had failed FDA trials 4 times, bought it for pennies on the dollar, perpetuated the story that this potential Alzheimer drug had real promise. And after they got massive investment, probably him and his family walked away with $2 billion. And this thing fails and falters. They got their bank stuffed full, while the everyday Joe lunch bucket Sally sewing needle investor lost their money. That came out very quickly. With people like Thiel, I'm uncomfortable as well. Musk, my belief is he was funded by the other side, built by the other side. Whether that's the real Musk or not, I don't know how the hell all these people all of a sudden have no wrinkles whatsoever. I watched this with Mike Pence. I've been following these political characters forever.
That baby blood, Bubba.
Yeah, that too, but I don't know.
Drinking that baby blood.
Maybe, but it's pretty quick that their faces are all stretched so tight. There's always differences, skulls, everything. But also, if these acolytes that are attached to these people are being used as tools against the satanic realm, and all these people, you look at the strategy with Elon. The left loved Elon. Solar, energy, lithium batteries. Microchips. Solar panel. Look, I designed solar systems, and I have friends that still own companies. I'm like, look, if you really want to deliver a victory for humanity and you think solar's away, do you have any idea how much damage that shit does to the planet and the human? Give me a fucking break. You should be screaming at the top of your lungs, 0-point energy, anti-gravitics, all these techs that exist, but they don't. Why? It's about the money. So anyways, when you have these leftists that who live and die in the sword of Elon Musk, and he's leading the charge in this mission in some ways. The objective is to capture their souls, bring them along, help them see a different framework of truth here that is actual, that is physical in this realm. So I believe that their weapons are being used against them in this fashion. I don't like Teal either. I see the same things. And whether these people are actor replacements, I don't know. But I believe that the enemy's tools are being used against them and bringing their followers into the fold to ride through this rise that we're going to go through. And it's a natural progression for them, not kicking and screaming like a Democrat being drugged into the realm of what Trump is doing and then start cheerleading him. You always have to fake them into it. So I don't have a clear answer on that. If I had to address these people, I would just say, motherfuckers, we are watching. We are watching. I don't care. I don't like any of them. I don't like Democrats, don't like Republicans. I've been a Republican all my life. I don't like any of these bastards because everything that happened to this planet, this country and planet, you didn't do it. We didn't do it.
Yeah, we did.
They did it. We allowed them to do it. But they are the ones who's driven this thing. So I don't trust any of them, nor will I ever. But I also know that they know we're watching, and there's a bright light on them. Yeah, I couldn't imagine being in front of a panel like that because they would really have to haul me out of there.
Very good. Well, thank you for that. You've got 3 strikes for bad language, but I'm going to let that slide. Brandy, my apologies. Deborah, apologies there. Dr. Sandra, you have 5 minutes with Elon Musk, Kash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard, Donald Trump, and who's the other one? Bobby Kennedy. Who we know.
Oh, what a fun game that would be. We could have so much fun. Yeah, it does bring me back to, of course, Robert Kennedy, has done such great work for such a long time exposing things, hasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, he has serious balls.
He has to win.
Serious, yeah. So he's done amazing work for a long time. I have to admire him for that. He has one of our EE cubes, by the way, also. But I know I had, there's like the top gold dealer on the planet, broker on the planet for like the gold mines and things. And she prays like 12, 16 hours a day. She's a golden, enlightened being as we're going into this golden age, fully understanding what we're, that we're going back to that, the whole golden power of the healing power of the gold and the golden effulgences of who we really are. And she's an amazing, amazing being. And she sent me a message. Get this message right away to them. Right away to them. Want me to go through my friend, beautiful, beautiful, another just an angelic being, Marla Maples.
Beloved friend, good woman.
I just adore her. We talk, we hang out together.
Georgia
It's fun.
Peach.
Yeah, she's
Actually, she's Tennessee. She's Tennessee.
She's Tennessee. That's true. She's Tennessee. And she was putting a center there with her dad and stuff. But he said, tell her they need a 48 unit. Tell Trump he needs a 48 unit system in that White House. As soon, 48 unit EE system in that White House as soon as possible. So that's probably be my conversation with all of them.
So Dr. Sandra recommends Donald Trump doing Ho'oponopono, right?
Ho'oponopono, yeah, absolutely.
Very good. Thank you, Sandra. Wonderful. Brad, okay, you've just been wheeled in. Sandra's been wheeled out of the Oval Office. You've got 5 minutes.
Well, maybe I'm being overly idealistic, but I would suggest that we are entering the age of transparency, where we're going to be able to read people's auras, including theirs. Their actions are going to be very, very transparent. So get with the program and start opening all this up even more than it's been, and really starting to get all this out there, from all the things such as health to government waste, which we're starting to see now. I just saw that yesterday the Pentagon's starting to be audited. Oh boy. Oh boy.
And the IRS.
That's right.
And of course, Trump keeps talking about getting rid of it. Isn't that awesome?
So we got to get rid of all these institutions, really, from the bottom up. My good friend Alex Collier says the only federal institution that's worth saving is the postal system. Just get rid of all the rest, crush them down to the bottom, and start.
That's what's
from the beginning.
happening, Brad.
And to get rid of the IRS. You're absolutely right, Sandra, and the Federal Reserve.
Yeah, the
Truth.
banksters. We're going to go to gold-backed economy. That's
Yeah.
in process. It's all happening.
It's inevitable. It has
Well,
to
the
be.
only one that I would want to talk to, Sacha, would be Bobby Kennedy. And I would tell Bobby Kennedy the name of the guy that Derek just said and to have him killed. Okay? Because if this guy is the one that's going to stop Bobby Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy from achieving the goals he's talking about, he needs to go.
So hashtag kill Teal.
Yeah. O'Neill, I thought his name was O'Neill.
Very good.
But so this is what I think. I think that all this exposure comes down to this. In Health and Human Services, to audit Health and Human Services is going to be the greatest reality check for Americans. To audit Health and Human Services, who we depend on for the core nature of our health care. Wonder if there's as much fraud in that and corruption in that, and the NIH. Wonder if there's that much corruption in it. We all know it is. But that's going to be a radical moment in your souls, everybody. I'm telling you, and it's going to come. Everything has to stop him. And the crossover from healthcare and children's defense sets a whole new way of exposing so much evil in America. I know this as a fact. So I would ask you to call your senator tomorrow, because the confirmation is on Wednesday, and say you stand for Bobby Kennedy getting approved of that as a constituent, and you ring them up. I'm doing it every day. I don't care.
You're trolling them.
Exactly. I need that opportunity, Sacha, in the political nature of where we all are, to have that opportunity. Everybody thinks it's about health care. Watch this, everybody.
Everything with Health and Human Services, everything with medical practices is going to transition away from the allopathic medical model that the Rockefellers hijacked 100 years ago, and we're moving into the new health of sound, of color, of frequency, of med beds, and everything is going to change in the 21st century. So
very good. Well, Ismael, you pulled the short straw. You're at the end here. You're the last one in the Oval Office. You're representing probably a great deal more than just Homo Luminous. But what is the basis of your 5 minutes?
Well, for 4 or 5 years now, we've been told that Hillary Clinton, Obama, and all the members of this cabal have been arrested and sent to Gitmo. The first thing I would say is show us the evidence that these are just clones, that the people that have been in power for the last 4 years are just clones of the originals that you guys supposedly told us you took to Gitmo. That's the first thing I would say, is give us the evidence. Who has been hung? Is Dr. Fauci hung? Have you guys captured Bill Gates? And by the way, Elon is a Trojan horse. Get rid of him. I agree. I'm sorry. But yeah, Elon, if you guys knew his history, man, he was the reason why the Martian colony fell 2 million years ago. According to the intergalactic records, Mars was a thriving human society with a flourishing, positive ecosystem. And they also bought the bait and fell into the transhumanist timeline, and as a result, they ended up in a nuclear holocaust. But anyways, that's a different story. That's galactic history. Go to my book, read my book if you guys want to learn about that. But the whole point is this. I would just say, bring us back to the gold standard. If you guys have been promising that all of this wealth that you guys took from the cabal is going to be coming back to the people, where is that? We are all waiting for our funds in order to implement our humanitarian projects. Bring those funds to the people. That's what I would say.
Nice. Beautiful. Okay.
Can I jump in there for a second, Sacha, on that point?
You want to touch on that?
Yeah, yeah, you're right. We do need proof, but I just want to throw this out there, for some affirmation of what I believe is going on. About 6 weeks ago, maybe 2 months ago, a very close friend of mine, he's a renowned eye surgeon, and somebody may have heard me talk about this on Patriot Street Fighter, Dr. Rick Abramson. He's very well connected, and he's a close friend, and he was having dinner in Dallas that evening, that weekend, invited me to a game. I couldn't go, but he was having dinner with one of Trump's top advisors. I don't know her last name, and I wouldn't say it if I knew it, but her first name is Stacy. She's been with Trump for 5 years. And so he had dinner with the two couples, and then Dr. Rick's nephew was there at dinner. He's a Trump hater. His parents programmed him, with the leftist mentality. But after the dinner was over, of course, he's followed everything we've learned about. So he started asking her direct questions, and she confirmed that Hillary was executed December 31st, 2017. Trump was there. She said it went very bad. It went very wrong. Apparently, they hung her, and she fought violently for a long time before she died. She said that Trump said it was the worst thing that he had ever seen. He said he never wants to see anything like that again. Also,
reptilians go hard, Bubba. Them reptilians go hard.
I'd put that on pay-per-view. They'd settle every debt in the world, in every country. Also, that Biden, of course, was executed in 2019. She said there are 5 different actors playing Biden. She said there are 6 Donald Trumps. She didn't say, clones or otherwise. Obviously, we have actors, masks, whatever. But she said that, as I've been telling my audience, the White House has been shut down for 4 years. I was there myself when we were on a second tour, Sacha. We went into D.C., parked the bus. It was 12 o'clock at night. The town was a ghost town. I grew up in the Northeast. It's always vibrant, 24/7. No humans. You couldn't find cars anywhere. In front of the White House, I couldn't see it. My driver's saying, "It's right there." Where? I don't see shit. He said, "You see the flag up in the air, lit up flagpole?" Yeah, that's on top of the White House. And I could see the silhouette of the White House on these dark grounds and one window lit up. So she said it has been closed down for 4 years. The town smelled like sewer. I was there. We know, national news covered 8 inches of water, all the streets of D.C. In that period of time, they were flooding tunnels. And she said that, which was really great. This is the best stuff. She said that the IRS is going away, as Trump says. She said all the income tax we've ever been paid is going to be repatriated. It was all based on fraud, as we know. It's illegal. She said, he asked about property tax. He said all of it's going away. It's all unconstitutional. Said the Treasury, I think it's in Texas, Department of Agriculture in Texas, Transportation is Detroit, Michigan. There's a few other things in there. But one of the things that she said that I thought was the most remarkable thing is this. As this young kid's hearing this stuff, he's 14, and he didn't like it because he's hearing about Trump. And she said to him, she said, "Look, young man," she said, "you're obviously a very smart kid." She said, "Don't worry about any of this stuff." She goes, "My advice to you is to just find something that you love to do. Find something that's your passion. And don't worry about money. You're going to have all the money you could ever need. Just find something that you love to do and that helps people." Now, those are, in my opinion, underpinnings of what we know as Nassar law. They're not going to announce anything like that. It's going to be a rollout. But I think that is as telling as anything that she said that night. So that's some confirmation from somebody who's directly one of his top advisors.
Thank you. Very helpful. Okay, so I'm involved in, anyone who watched my talk the other evening will know, and anyone who's conversant with the work that our New Earth team are doing will know. The big work that we're involved in right now is connected to orchestrating or engineering a multilateral initiative in Africa. There are 9 governments ultimately involved. We're dealing at head of state level. And so as I was asking the question, how would you address, the head of state in the Oval Office and his clutch of key advisors, I know I'm doing that in real time. I'm putting questions. I've got prime ministers on the phone asking our advice. Because in Africa, there is about a renaissance is kicking off this year. The younger political leaders are claiming back Africa for Africans in the same way that the incumbency is claiming America for Americans, ostensibly. But it's happening in Africa in a huge way. It's happening in Southeast Asia as well, and other parts of the world. Africa is where we're focused. And when I sat down for 3 hours a couple of weeks ago, as I was leaving Southern Africa, heading to my home in Southeast Asia, I had a 3-hour meeting with an incoming prime minister. I won't say which country. Takes the reins in about 2 weeks' time. And he asked me, it was a 3-hour dinner, and he was asking me, what would it take for me to come back to Africa and get back into the politicking sphere? And I said, no money on earth would ever get me to get back into that game. And I do have a backstory there, as some of you know. But what he said to me was, can you give me seminal advice? If you were to come in to central government and we had a clean slate, what would your advisement be? And I said 2 things. I said, if you're going to take the reins of the country in 2 weeks' time or 3 weeks' time, unilaterally eradicate all synthetic molecules. Mm-hmm. That's it. He said, you're mad. And I said, yeah, absolutely, but you're fucked up. I said, your country is the poorest country in Africa, and you're already on the floor. You're at 0 point. So how about follow the line of Bobby Kennedy here? I'll patch the support in from Washington to you guys. Eradicate all synthetic molecules from your country. Be the first nation on earth to do that. You will rid yourself of the source code of the devil. It may take 3 to 5 years to cleanse the soil, the air, the water, and the microbiome of your 20 million population, but you will do it. You will allow the angelic template to surface once you have rid the synthetic molecules. 1, he said, what's the second piece of advice? I said, the second piece is tokenize and ascetize the entire nation yourselves. No further third-party intervention. Eradicate the SWIFT code mechanism. Have no further dealings with the BIS, the IMF, the World Bank, the IMF, the IFC. I said, my own law commission, headed up by that woman, will teach you how to do it. But you can reclaim every square inch of the territory of your nation for your people. Tokenize and ascetize it and step away from all third-party intervention. All priests, all bankers, all doctors in that sense, all teachers, anyone standing between the human and their own salvation. So that's the piece, curiously enough, we've arrived at after 25 years of work. In my life, it's about synthetic molecules and understanding how that became the source code of interventionism into our lives. How it really crept in, and the glyphosates and the fluorides and the phosphates and the strontium, and the barium, all of that. Exactly.
Well, it comes down to health care.
Yeah, but it's also biosphere. You'll recall in 20, Dr. Sandra was there. We did the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into the weaponization of the biosphere. Yeah. So, friends, let's just now throw the mic out. Questions? Anyone here want to speak to any part of what we've been discussing?
Yes, I care very much to contribute my thoughts to what your original question was about the status quo as well as where we're heading to in 2025. I've applied a lot of my research and knowledge into seeing where this is going. So I've sort of accumulated some evidence that the political nature in which so much chaos is happening with the advancements of AI, with the advancements of a further mRNA agenda, this is all part of a very narcissistic, fear-based, control-based reality that does not fit into the 5D consciousness. It is not going to resonate. These systems are breaking down, people are seeing through them, and they are going to completely go away. So around the time frame of actually February the 27th is when the solar flash could possibly occur. What that would do is that would activate dormant DNA codes within our DNA, shift us up into a higher frequency, and turn on genetic capabilities that have been dormant for a long, long time because of Draco and AI interference. If I were to sit down with Trump, Tulsi Gabbard, Kash Patel, Elon Musk, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr., I would tell him, first of all, with your approval, Donald Trump, I would like to bring in the Galactic Federation of Light. We will bring in our ships to remove the inorganic material off of the whole planet. We'll vacuum it all up. Everything organic will stay. That includes in the oceans, the microplastics, that includes in the chemtrails, everything that's polluted, it will be vacuumed up. Another thing, with Kash Patel, I would say the FBI has been a lying, corrupt agency. Thank you for taking this position. Make sure to get rid of 91% of everybody in Congress right now. Get the handcuffs, call the marshal, get everyone arrested, and I want people put away if they've been part of Peter Thiel. That includes J.D. Vance, eradicated. Elon Musk now, if I'm addressing Elon Musk personally, I would say you're getting into very dangerous territory with the data that you're collecting, with breaching people's personal information to build a data center in Tennessee and also in other places. This includes Stargate. This includes any other people that Trump is aligning to, including Sam Altman, including Larry Ellison. And these are tech billionaires that are tied to the CIA. Kash Patel, go into the CIA. Take control of your agency. Next, Tulsi Gabbard. With what China is doing here, you really need to pay attention. We do not trust China. They have sent spies. They have infiltrated. China is our biggest military competitor. We need to make sure that the advancements of AI are regulated. Trump removed executive orders to remove what could be harmful in relation to AI development. So in the interest of that, I would say we are not going to speed up that timeline. People do not need jabs. Elon Musk, you can forget about it. We need our organic DNA to be activated, turn into light bodies, have the galactic beings that we know are around us get to work with us, and with Trump's permission, I will disclose what MJ-12 has hidden since 1960s. And with that, I would like to go to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., which I would just like to say thank you so much for wanting to make the first thing to eradicate all the fluoride from out of the water your priority. Please get that done ASAP right now, as you had stated. Remove it all.
Call your senator tomorrow, everybody. Call your senator tomorrow.
That's
everybody.
pretty much, I could go on, but that's pretty much it. Anyone else? Anyone else guided?
Thank you.
Could I just
Very
add
good.
to that, Sacha?
Yeah, please. One moment, please.
I just wanted to add real quick before we go further, because there was a couple comments here about Elon Musk. For those who want to dive into some of the things that were mentioned, I wrote an article a couple weeks ago called "You Can't Hide," and it's about the fact that Elon Musk is one of the largest military-industrial complex contractors. Part of what I call the great inversion is to remake this idea that all of a sudden it's cool to be a military-industrial complex contractor. You have Peter Thiel through Anduril, OpenAI, and Musk all now sort of forming a new alliance that was announced a few weeks ago. They're sort of positioning themselves as, we're going to be the new competition to Raytheon, to Boeing, et cetera. We're the cool, hip, young tech guys that are going to replace the old guard. That is, I think, an illusion that's being presented to us to sort of accept that. But I encourage everybody to look up Starshield. You can find my article if you just search my name, Derek Brosen, Starshield. It is the world's largest satellite network, spy satellite network that Elon Musk is helping to build. Every time they show one of those cool rockets going up in the sky, he's actually sending out classified payloads for the National Reconnaissance Office, which is the spy satellite network for the U.S. government. And it's a and he helped with the war in Ukraine with Starlink. It's a $1.8 billion classified contract that we've only learned about over the last year. We still don't know exactly what they're doing. But in my article, I found the head of the NRO. His name's Christopher Scalise. He said at a talk he gave recently, "You can't hide. Now that we're building this large satellite network, there will be nowhere to hide on the planet." Now, of course, he's claiming it's just for the bad guys, for the terrorists, but that's just a bit of the sort of things Elon Musk is working on. And the young lady here just mentioned Stargate, Larry Ellison, OpenAI, Sam Altman. I encourage you to go look at an article I wrote about that last week, because these pieces are very important. And these aren't just happening kind of randomly. These are people that Donald Trump is partnering with directly.
Right. Very good. Ma'am.
Okay, I do have a question. This is brilliant. You guys are brilliant. You're brilliant. That was amazing. I can't, my mind's blown. Okay, I have a question. Clones. It's so confusing. There's 7 Trumps. There's 4 Musks. Hillary's dead, but yet she's walking in clones. So Having said that, you're sitting in front of Trump, who isn't Trump, and Elon, who isn't Elon. Who's behind the clones? Is it the cabal? Is it the good? Like, who's cloning, bad or good?
You know, it's a very hard one for me. 25 years ago, I was on my way to meet with Saddam Hussein and in Iraq. And I was told, my briefing before that was that I was likely to meet one of 8 individuals. That was a quarter of a century ago. That was de rigueur. The same thing when I was heading through Malta to Tripoli to meet with Gaddafi. As you don't know if you're going. This is his own people saying we cannot guarantee which one of them. But that was safeguarded in those. I mean, there's a lot of paranoia back in the day, so they would have human doubles. They were not clones. I do not personally subscribe to the clone thing, and that's because I am only interested in the forensics. I have no interest in the ideas. I've got a great imagination, but I don't go there. For me, I have not yet seen the forensics of cloning. It was actually my cousin, Anthony, in England, who was lead geneticist with the Dolly the sheep in the 1980s. So in my own family circle, this clone thing has been a subject that's come around the dinner table over 30-odd years. I am not convinced that Hillary Clinton has been grown in a petri dish. I rather like the idea that she's... I think it's probably a double, and I think that's fairly straightforward there. Masking is a technology that is so easy now. So the business of animated clones, genetic clones, I don't subscribe to on this world, but I don't know the answer to the question.
Can I just chime in real
Please
quick
do.
on the cloning part of it? You mentioned Dolly the sheep. The technology is definitely there.
Yes.
They do know how to do it.
They're cloning pets in Hollywood right now.
Yeah, and even chimeras.
But they cannot accelerate the growth. That's the point. It's still going to take.
CRISPR.
It's still going to take.
How you're using CRISPR and how you're matching and splitting those.
What
spikes in
can
the
you
protein.
grow a Hillary Clinton in 3 weeks? That's the question.
I don't know about that.
Right.
I know the theory. I know the theories there to be able to achieve cloning based on CRISPR technology.
Agreed.
So-
But it's about the accelerated growth that for me becomes the stumble point.
Well, some of the
Or why would
testimony
you
of
take
Donald
over
Marshall, he goes into the cloning laboratory. He's been there. He does see them. They do have
Humans.
Yeah, rapid cloning technology. Here's just a little tidbit. I was on a tour with Nassim Harriman 6 years ago in Peru, Bolivia, and I said, Nassim, I heard a story.
In where?
That Peru and Bolivia.
Oh, I thought it said Peru, Bolivia.
Dash Bolivia. Speaking fast. Said, Nassim, I heard a story that you saw a bunch of clones in a cloning laboratory. He told me to my face that he was in an underground base in Bulgaria about 2 decades ago, and he saw 8 absolutely identical clones walk in and do some work, and they're very much of a hive mind. So it's a matter of programming the intelligence, and my understanding is, and this is what Donald Marshall also says, is when the host dies, so in the case of Hillary Clinton being hung in 2017, the clones start breaking down very rapidly. You do need that living host to incubate the other one. So if she is still being propped up with a clone, or we can't underestimate the masks are very, very realistic now. We've all seen the videos when they're peeling them off, as well as doppelgangers. I mean, this goes all the way back to Hitler had his own doppelgangers. They'll find people that are very closely resembling them. They will give them plastic surgery. And why wouldn't you? Because if your politician might be assassinated, you want to put the doppelganger out front.
Exactly.
So I just don't think we can actually throw the baby out with the bathwater when it comes to cloning, because that technology is definitely here.
I agree.
Well, who's
No one
doing
knows
the
for sure.
cloning? Yeah. and So why
All
does
you did
clone
was
have-
license the patent, honey.
Why does Trump have clones?
You know?
If he's a good guy, maybe it's just a doppelganger for his own safety.
Okay, thank you for the question. Appreciate it. Yes, Marsha Willardson.
I don't really have a question. I don't think it may come up, but I've just got to say something before I absolutely explode. one of the things, Scott, that you said is that you came out and it wasn't your natural way of being. Well, the truth is it wasn't your normal way of being. We use language. We've been programmed to use language in such a way that we sabotage our own inner knowing. And your natural way of being was how you came out. The normal way of being was how you were before that. So we have, when I was in college, they asked me to do a sociology course. And I went in the first chapter. It says, okay, we're going to study norms. And I went to the teacher and said, who's setting the norms? And she said, I don't know. And so I quit the course. How am I going to work in a normal world when it's not even my norm? It's not my natural way of being, but I'm fitting into the society because this norm is teaching me to be there. Another thing is we say, okay, now, right here is where the power is. And then the whole conversation is about, we need to get over here. We need to get over there. We want something. Well, there's times during the last 35 years, and if I went in to see Trump, I would take my 35 years of files of lawfare and I would dump it in his office and I would command him to execute those files against the people for treason. The executive lawfare, the administrative lawfare, the judicial lawfare, which is really executive lawfare. I would show him, and I would cut through all of those contracts that Tupper Saucy called blown cover as cover. Every time it happened with the Jesuits, it happened all over the planet. If we want to look at anything, we want to look at that. We don't want to look at the history and bring it forward because all that history is programmed. Who said so? Who says it's real? What do we know for sure? So right now, what I know for sure is what I would take into that office. 2 10 by 20 storage units of files over the last 35 years of people with no money down have been defended from lawfare. And that's what I would take to Trump. We already have won. We've already won. In the ethers, we've already won. We don't need to get anywhere.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I work with researchers in Massachusetts that did the CRISPR. But what I really want to ask is, I'm concerned about these solar flares that Ismael and a couple of other people brought up, because I have solar panels. So not that it created anxiety, but I wanted some practical advice on that, as well as microbiomes, because I just realized this in this talk, that we have gut bacteria that have nervous cells. So these chemicals that we're consuming and that are in our blood, are there any practical things that we can do to address this, as well as the solar flares?
Ismael, I think that was largely directed to you. I've definitely got an answer for that, but I think it was directed at you initially.
Yeah, that's a very good question, and it's actually a general concern for most people. I mean, I think I get that question a lot on my chats when I'm going live. And the best way to prepare in the event that we do have somewhat of a quarantine event point, 10.0, is just to be grounded and just be in the presence, because, there's really nothing to worry about. I mean, this has been prophesied about. This is something that every, I guess, 25,000 years, it's an event that happens every 25,000 years. But if you really want to be grounded, I mean, if you really want to prepare, it's best to have 2-3 weeks of food supply and water, and just, like a prepper. That's it. If you want to prepare physically, but it's also important to prepare spiritually, because it is believed that these CMEs are actually communicating with their cells at a very micro level of reality, where they're actually inserting new codons, activating DNA strands. So it might not be a bad thing. This is probably what we've all been waiting for. The transformation of the Homo sapiens sapiens into Homo luminous. And so, we really have nothing to worry about. But if you feel like you need to be ready, 2-3 weeks of food and water, that's it.
Very good, very good.
In case the grid goes down.
I just want to speak momentarily to this. The so-called solar flares only happen in diametric proportion to the degree to which the collective consciousness of this plane of existence invites those solar flares. So it's perfect counterpoint geometry. Nothing ever comes at us that is a threat in and of itself. We can perceive it as a threat, but that is classic incoherence on the part of our psycho-intellectual, psycho-spiritual, psycho-civilizational perspective. And the problem we've had, if indeed we have had a problem, has been fear as the source code of our psycho-civilizational matrix reality. And that was something which was heavily underscored by 500 years of ritualistic satanic nonsense issuing through the Roman Catholic Church, essentially. All monotheistic religions are guilty of the same, all of them. But this guilt, shame, fear complex, the angst, the trial of separation, dirty, dirty human, all of that narrative has been kind of embellished into us and imprinted into us. And so the problem is we are at the collective level of the Gestalt putting out incoherent signatures. And those signatures are inviting a redress or a reset. So the so-called solar flares are coming back in answer to the call, always, and can only ever be an answer to the call, in much the same way that climates are steered by human consciousness. And when we get that piece, we'll understand that as we go back to the Aboriginal source code of starting to dream wisely within the social construct of me, my relationship with self, then me, my relationship with my partner, my relationship with the family, with the community, with the society, and then with the culture, and then with the civilization at large. It is how we choose to dream wisely that is the ultimate protection and defense, so to speak. Remember, protectionism and defensiveness never served human beings. That all that does is creates the false armor. We go out looking for a battle, we'll meet it because we're imagining it. So again, wise dreaming is the answer to the call. Daniel.
All right, so Sacha, what? Hold on a second, everybody.
Yeah, don't clap.
What? Well, but clap, okay? But watch. What astrophysicists are talking about today? I listened to what she says. There is something about what's happening that she doesn't understand about solar flares. What astrophysicists are talking about right now is they cannot understand the new type of bombardment. They don't even have a name for the kind of neutrino bombardment that's hitting the Earth in these solar storms over the next 2 years. This is what they're talking about. So solar flares and neutrino bombardment, which is a very, very, very small, compacted, nanoparticulated structure, a neutrino, but they flow through our bodies all the time, everybody. We are bombarded by these energetic fields. They have never seen this kind of neutrino concentration. Like we're saying, an age has been born, a universe in a 25,920-year passage as the Mayas have passed, and we're into the 13th year of the next phase. The Mayas never went into the future, everybody. They counted down. Their calendar counts down a period, and then it counts down the next period. They don't go into the future. And what Ismalel was talking about, do you realize that every calendar that he just described, the Hebrew, the Chinese, the Ethiopian, all those Bibles, even the Mayan and the Olmec Bibles in a Hebrew, all of them were founded within 12 years of each other. All of those calendars were founded, and all over the world where they were founded, within 12 years of each other. Okay? Now, when you start to think about that, it makes all that stuff that everybody here is saying make a little more sense. That there's cohesion. There's something happening like this. It's going to be okay. Why? We're here. So when you're talking about looking at those rays incoming, look up what a neutrino does in your body. Look up what a neutrino, it'll have something somewhere along the line for you. It'll be something like iodine. So it would be something thyroid, like if you're looking at neutrino bombardment, so look up neutrino, but it would be something to do with thyroid. I mean, I'm just picking that up, but something to do with that because everybody has to have a spectrum in their body based on electron bombardment. Because a new age is being born, we must, like you said, ascend It's like Brad said, you ascend or you're going to rise or you're not. We're going to evolve or we're not. It isn't that we're not here, and it isn't there's no sand to stick your head in. It's what do we do?
Very good. Thank you.
May I
John.
do that?
Yes.
If you worry about the solar flare, then you're going to need to prepare for it.
So I wanted to just share a really brief experience. In the 12 months, I faced this incredible personal purification, and this is post multiple versions of awakening, right? But you come to a point where you are completely in the name of personal truth and sovereignty, asked to let go of everything that you were. I'm 56 years old, and I have let go of my marriage. I have let go of all kinds of dysfunctional families.
Scott McKay is looking.
Yeah. And also let go of businesses that I could no longer work at, as well as faced all of these trapped emotions that have been there for 56 years. And this has happened in rapid fire. 12 months. So I would love to hear your thoughts on when we are faced this kind of rapid transformation, what are we being prepared for?
Beautiful.
Break the matrix.
That's beautiful. Well, it seems to me that you're surfing at the front end of revelation, the wave of revelation, which is essentially, if you want to look at it mechanically, it's a vibral photonic wave of etheric, so to speak, particulates. And we are bombarding that into a maximum on the outer fringes of the so-called Milky Way at this time. So as we do that, this is something which happens, that the great 26,000-year cycle speaks to that. 13,000 years, 12 to 13,000 years ago, we passed through that same vibral photonic band, and an audit, a hyperdimensional audit was conducted at that time, essentially sweeping through every molecule on this plane, asking, how do you want to dance? How do you want to play? Are you ready for the upshift? And at that time, the consensual response from all sentient beings on Earth 13,000 years ago was, no, we're having too much fun playing with the false light. And so we were allowed to continue, by our consensus, to move into another a dream spell, another galactic night, so to speak, which has taken 12 to 13,000 years. Now we've come back up through that vibral photon band. This is the mechanics of how this galactic plane works. As we're bombarding that light, the age of Aquarius is emerging. The grace of God is descending. Revelation is emerging. It seems to me that you're catching the front end of that wave of revelation. So what's taking place is another audit, so to speak, a hyperdimensional audit of all the collective sentience of this plane of existence in this quadrant of the omniverse. And we are the determining outcome. How we choose to dream and to awaken within the dream spell and then dream into actualization is what will determine heaven on earth. So anchoring patterns of perfection into this earth plane becomes our divine prerogative. It seems to me that you found joy at the front end of this. All of us are being invited to do exactly what you've done. Yes, indeed.
And you don't have a choice. So what I would say is this: you're living perfectly in the 13th year of the new age.
Very good. Very good. Very good.
So congratulations. Listen, congratulations.
Ma'am, I'll take very quickly yours if it's a question, and then I'm definitely going to just ask for closing comments here on the panel.
Thank you. How do we know? How do we know if this is human fuckery?
I can't, Marsha, I'm so sorry. I can't hear you. Forgive me.
How do we know if the sun and these energies that are coming in are from humans, or the sun blaming it on the sun?
I'm not sure that it matters, ma'am. Respectfully, I'm not sure that it matters.
It's a part of an age being born.
What name we put to it or give to it, and how we've managed to compartmentalize. We are the atom seed of the quantum hologram of this entire majestic omniverse. That's who I am. I am creator. You are creator. And I think that we situate our state of witness in the singularity of the Alpha Omega. It doesn't really matter how we tabulate or categorize or name. For me, I'm sitting in the throne of witness in all ways, at all times. That's the only way I can answer that question, but I'll open it to broader minds and hearts than my own.
Who was the woman that asked that question and dropped the F-bomb?
Oh.
I just have to say, you complete me.
Off the hook now, Scott.
Very good. So, friends, we are 13 minutes past 1, Monday, the 10th of February, Anno Domini 2025 in the false light calendar. So, thank you all for being here. I'm going to invite this panel to give their closing comment statements to this rather weird, zany quantum conversation that we've had. Bianca, I'm going to start with you.
So I'm hearing a lot of, yes, we need to eliminate synthetic products. Yes, we need to clear the fluoride, all this stuff. But how many women are wearing nail polish? You're poisoning your blood. How many here drink alcohol? You're killing yourself. So there's a lot of things that we can have from others, but we really need to think about, what are we doing to ourselves? What are you doing? How do you start your day? How do you end your day? What are you putting in your body? What are you speaking? And what are you listening to? So we need to really start taking accountability and not caring so much about the things that don't matter. So think about what matters to you. Focus on that, because all other things, yes, they exist, but they're not in your realm. So just really taking action on what you were able to take action on.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
Well,
Scott McKay's been painting his toenails for many, many years, and presumably it's caught up with you round about now.
Only I lopped off the end of my finger a couple weeks ago, so Sacha had to pick up the slack for me and paint my toenails.
One more thing. Okay, sorry, she wants me to say, I do have a post-conference at 4. It's about zodiacs and tissue salts, and this is just real brief. Everyone's missing 3 essential minerals based on your zodiac sun sign, and by knowing about what minerals are missing, you can see what's deficient and what's causing the organ malfunction. And that will be posted if you're not able to go, but it is at 4 today. Yeah,
Very good, thank you. Sorry, Scott, to detract from the very important subject of your painted toenails.
I'm trying to expand my horizons in front of people, so I love it.
Okay, very good. I want to invite Derek Brose's final comments. I know he's got to make a move fairly swiftly. Derek.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on the panel. I don't have any brilliant closing thoughts other than to echo what was just said, and I think it's personal responsibility is so important. Whatever sort of broader communities you see yourself as part of, New Age, spiritual, conscious, freedom, health freedom, etc., I think personal responsibility is more important than ever. As I said earlier, not outsourcing and assuming that others are going to come save you, whether that's Trump, Musk, ETs, galactics, etc. Even if you believe in those things, still taking personal responsibility for where you are in life and the direction your life is headed, because it's likely a result of your own habits and actions or inactions. The other thing I'll just mention for those who are curious to learn more about my work, I am going to be set up at the table outside with my books and shirts. You can find all of my journalism, my documentaries at theconsciousresistance.com. I also have produced a 17-part documentary series called The Pyramid of Power at thepyramidofpower.net. We're premiering the 16th episode tonight at 6 p.m. local time. And if you're ever looking for a 5-day solutions-focused event, in January, we host an event called the People's Reset every year in central Mexico, thepeoplesreset.org. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you, Derek. Dr. Sandra, your closing thoughts, comments on this conversation.
I was going to say, yeah, we're in Revelation, the great revealing, the apocalypse, the great shift has happened. I mean, God wins. Fear and God cannot share the same space. The more you protect from, the more there is to protect from. But as we radiate light, it's really about us coming into that total remembrance of who we are, all that we are, all that we're here for. We are here right now in the fulfillment of all the prayers, all the promises, all the prophecies of all beings, really. This is an amazing time. Celebrate. We're glad we're here. We made it. Rock and roll on the planet. Woohoo. But as we radiate light, and that's that detox, when the body has the charge, it wants to discharge everything and anything that does not belong. As we radiate light, nothing that is not of that light can affect us.
Thank you, Sandra. Beautiful.
So.
Beautiful. Brad, closing comments from you, brother.
Well, since this is the break free from the Matrix panel, I think it's probably necessary to explore what that really means. Remember in the movie The Matrix when they're walking down the city street with the woman in the red dress? And
who could forget it?
Who could forget it, right? One of the seminal scenes of that movie. And when Morpheus says to Neo what the Matrix was, he said the Matrix is a system. But they never really got into what that system means. So I would like to add some words into what that is, that we are living in this matrix, this false narrative of what this Khazarian mafia cabal deep state has created into our programming, into our thinking, because almost everything that we have come to know is programmed to believe this illusion to keep us trapped in a system of control. Our physical world is primarily run by a secret society or elite people who control the masses. And they use the mass media outlets, celebrities, movies, engineered foods, and mind manipulation tactics to keep the people enslaved. So in order to be free, we have to dismantle the matrix. And we do this through raising human consciousness and cleansing the lower vibrational feelings of fear, shame, and guilt. If we aren't afraid, we cannot be controlled. If we stand together in our truth and our light, we cannot be controlled. So that's how we break from this prison planet and the matrix that has been set up around us.
Beautiful. Thank you, brother. Thank you. So, Scott McKay, I'd like to invite your closing comments.
First of all, how many people have ever watched Patriot Street Fighter?
Yeah.
Right. So one of my meetings with Sacha this week was and it's been incubating that we've got to get beyond, and especially me, beyond warfare. And so we're going to create a new series called Beyond Patriot Street Fighter into the Quantum Realm. And this is great to have these incredible folks here because I'll be making contact with all of you. These are the kind of topics and people we're going to be discussing because it is the critical turning point. One of the most important things you need to do, we need to do, is to get out of these concrete jungles, get your feet on Mother Earth, to allow these energies to come through you and away from the fog of cities, so the cosmic energy can come down through you and meet. And you have to be prepared to allow yourself to become you. Where we are now, it isn't necessarily you, but that's the only way you're going to become you. And the most important advice that I can give anybody in here, if you're thinking of purchasing a Harley Davidson, I'm going to recommend you go Indian. We did.
Very good.
Vote with your dollars. Quit paying to poison yourself. But every dollar is a vote. What are you voting for day by day by day?
If you can't get into nature easily, find the closest EE system.
Or yell at somebody.
It's an activator, and I sleep in a 24-unit system. And the reason I don't walk around in the morning like a cripple is because I sleep in a system. Now I can get up and put my one sneaker on and cruise around the house like nothing really happened. So
beautiful. Thank you, Scott. Ismael, closing comments, brother.
Just to put it simply, and this is advice I give to everyone. Just be in the moment, because this is all we really have. There is no future. There is no past. When you are in the moment, you're actually co-creating both the future and the past simultaneously. And that is where you are in your power, in the presence. So that is my advice for everybody. That's it.
Beautiful. Okay. Daniel, I defer to your wisdom flame to close for us, your closing comments. Brother.
Okay, I thank you all for coming here. I mean, I'm appreciative to see that you would come. And I watch the joy and expressiveness of us all. But I think that I need you to know that I love you very, very much. And I need you to know that the fact that I can look at you and see the smiles and listen to the conversation and listen to the people on this panel and realize that I'm not out here fighting alone. You know, I'm fighting for a cause, and I watch all. But when I sit here, I know I'm not by myself. So I love you very much. I appreciate you very much. I'm glad you came to fight at the same time. I don't know about him and warfare, but I'm sticking to warfare, okay? I'm glad that you came to fight at this time and presence, and I'm glad you showed up. My last point is this. Remember, everybody, go on Amazon and get your trace minerals. The body does three things. It does compound, enzyme, and solution reactions. So if you're in a healing system or your thoughts or whatever it is you're working on, the only way the body's going to do anything is it has to have trace minerals, which activates those compound, enzyme, and solution reactions. So as this pace keeps speeding up and the world keeps crumbling, you got to give your body as much of what it needs when you're in your thoughts and your presence and the food you're taking to the divine force that the body is, to overpower all that garbage we're talking about putting in our systems. I love you very much. I'm Danian.com. Go to Danian.com and come play with me.
Beautiful. Thank you, Daniel. So, in closing, friends, I just want to mention there is no revelation out there. The revelation I think we recognize is immanent. It's a reckoning with self, with the diminished self. And when we do engage that reckoning with the diminished self and actualize as the capitalized self, everything changes. The immanent flame takes over. We're no longer led by the light. We do not follow the light to the end of the tunnel, nor should we ever have done that. It served us. We are the light in that sense. I am the atonement. I am the absolution. I am the redemption. And I am the salvation. That is the I am. Rekindling relationship with the sacred soil, as Scott alluded to, is exactly correct. That's the hardest technology of all for us to learn as a civilization, escaping the so-called matrix. Simply a rekindling with the immanent telluric forces of this paramagnetic earth. Because when we are barefoot on the soil or in the mud or on the grass, we phase conjugate with the dielectric universe through the crown, Kundalini rising, all of that. It can only happen when we're not standing in rubber-soled shoes on asphalt in concrete jungles. So the flight from Sodom and Gomorrah is underway. The work that we're doing, the New Earth Project, the International Tribunal for Natural Justice, the World Hereditary Council, New Earth Technologies, and we've been incubating free energy for many years, and this year we're releasing 2. 1, water, fuel, powering up a village on about that much water in Africa per week. So that's going to be an interesting play, getting that technology out to the world. We're getting more exotic technologies out to the world as well, as many others are. I know what we're working on. Jurisdiction is very important, establishing your jurisdiction in this world. Wherever you be, the I am is the ultimate jurisdiction. There is no justice in this world that will cage that woman, Marsha Willardson. She's the head of our law commission, and in that sense, as we joke, she's our center of gravity. And she happens to be the matriarch as well, which is the most powerful emergent force on earth at this time, at this end of time. So it's circles within circles within circles. I can tell you this image that I chose behind me here is the grandmother. It's the grandmother energy, it's the grandmother spirit, it's the emergence of that matriarchal energy, which now comes to soothe an age-old patriarchal dominion, and all a hegemony of patriarchal energy, which has really subjugated our true quantum consciousness and our creativity as a species. Now that all changes, everything changes. We must, and this is what I'm ending on, we must pierce the corporate veil, the corporation the corporation, the parent corporation, the Vatican complex, the crowns of Europe, the Pentagon, the war powers, the United Nations, all of these institutions, agencies, organizations that control how we move, how we breathe, how we see each other, how we exchange. Third-party intervention is what the parent corporation is. We have to pierce that corporate veil. We are now entering into the most anti-historic period of time where we will no longer be registering our children at birth. We will no longer be allowing ourselves to be registered at all. How dare anything or anyone register me, my soul, my time, my motion, my bicycle, my combine harvester, my tractor, my Harley Davidson, sorry, my Indian. Right? How dare any authority outside of the I am demand that I register my assets or my resources or my property?